What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is gonna be the review for the season finale of First Wives Club, season 1, episode 1. Season 1, episode 10. So the ladies were fighting. We know that's how we ended last episode. They're mad at each other. We see this whole sequence where they keep picking up the phone to text each other, to tell each other what's going on. You know how them group texts go, and you know Ari wants to check in on them. Bree wants to let them know that Gary still wants a divorce. Hazel wants to let them know, listen, I'm alive. I know you put me out your house in the middle of the night, but I'm good, just in case you care. Then they pick up the phone to text their sorry to each other, and they put that phone down. You know, the pride go up before the fall, honey. Now, Ari gets a phone call from a good friend of hers, who is an attorney. She left her law firm, started her own law firm. It's a group of women of color, and offers her a job. Says, listen, you know, we know that your husband about to be, a senator, a congressman, whatever the heck you running for. And in the meantime and in between time, what you gonna do? And she was like, I don't know. She was like, but you missed the law, right? And she said, yeah. She said, well, listen, I know we can't pay you what you worth, but if you want to come on board, I'm prepared to offer, give you an offer. And, she write it down on a piece of paper, slide it across the table. And you could tell Ari's intrigued by it, right? She's intrigued by this. She's excited, and it's something she looks like she wants to do. Then, we see Bree. Bree goes back to therapy, and she's talking to the therapist, and the therapist says, listen, normally I advise people when they're where you are, it seems like you can't get over it, you can't get past it. I usually advise people, hey, maybe you should just let this go and move on. She said, but in your case, that ain't what I'm going to tell you. She was like, what you mean that's not what you're going to tell me? She said, I'm going to say you need to go back to where it all happened for you. Where did you first fall in love with Gary? Where did you first realize that he was the one? And then see how you feel and take it from there. Hazel is in the studio with Derek. And of course, Derek is being all lovey-dovey, talking about they're getting ready to go out on tour and they about to do this and do that. And he was like, yeah, well, here's the play set from the tour. And he wants to play all of her old hits. And she was like, wait, whoa. She said, I'm dropping an album tomorrow. Why would I be out here promoting songs that I've already, like, these are hits from 15 years ago. I have a new album coming out. It's #1 on the charts. Why wouldn't I promote that? And he said, listen, let's just go on and be real. The only reason why people are buying your new song is because of all of the controversy of our divorce. People really want the old Hazel. That's what they want. That's what we're going to give them. We trying to promote this new record label, and we got to go where the hits are. And she said, oh, I see. So what this really boils down to is you saw that I was doing good for myself, and you decided that wasn't good enough for you. So you really only are around because you ain't done using me up, basically, And so she's starting to come from out of the fog, see the light. So, Bree ends up going back to where her and Gary used to hang out. She goes to the same hot dog stand. She said, this is where me and my husband used to come when we were young in college and we would lead a club and we need to put some grease on our stomach. And the hot dog man could care less. He over it and he don't care, okay? And she starts going through the whole story about her and her husband, and this is how they fell in love and how the therapist told her to come back here to see if anything connects. And he is like, girl, what you want? You want 2 hot dogs? What you want? That'd be $7. I think it was like $14. I said, damn, $14 for 2 hot dogs? God dang. So she goes to sit on the park bench and she's looking around the park and she sees people in love. There's couples everywhere. Everybody's in love. Everybody's loving life. And she is, picking up on it, hearing it, looking all around. And she closes her eyes and she says, I really, really love Gary. I wish Gary were here right now. And he's there. The therapist had told him to do the same thing. And he went back to the exact same place that she went. So he was like, well, the therapist told me to go back to where I first fell in love. And I first realized that I loved you. And here I am. And so they realized that they really do want to work things out. They really do want to be together. And that they do still love each other. And just at that moment where they're sort of reconnecting about the kiss and everything, girl, her phone rings. And she gets an SOS call from Versace. Says, listen, meet me at the house. I got some information. Gary was like, right now? We got to do this right now. She was like, yeah, I got to go. It's the SOS. I got to go see what's going on with my girls. Because remember, no matter how mad you are at each other, when you got that group, you got that core group, listen, when you call, I'm there. When I'm call, you there. Like, that's just what we do for each other. That's how we are. And Hazel is at the nail shop getting drunk because, of course, she is realizing I done got mad at my friends. I done told my friends to kiss my ass. I done thought that I had this whole thing figured out and that, you know, Derek was really going to be the one and do something for me. And I realized that it was just some bullshit, you know. Ari ends up having an argument with her husband because she tells him about the job offer and how excited she is. And he was like, well, what you mean? Like, how you going to do that from Albany? And she was like, Albany? I ain't going to Albany. He said, well, what made you, like, if I win this election, when I win this election, I'm going to be in Albany. She was like, yeah, but we never talked about me going to Albany. I always thought you would commute. Like, you would be in Albany during the week. You come home on the weekends. We would do what we do. I never intended to totally 100% give my life up. Like, I took a hiatus to help you get where you wanted to go, but I want to go back to work. I'm excited about this opportunity. And so they're sort of at a crossroads. So Bree gets home, and right after Bree gets home, Hazel walks in the door. Right after Hazel walks in the door, Ari walks in the door, and Hazel and Bree had already said their apologies to each other. But when Ari walks in, of course, Hazel owes, you know, Ari an apology. And Bree is like, let her apologize. Just let her apologize. Let her get it all out her system. You know, I made her grovel a little bit. You go ahead. Just listen to her. Let her, you know, let her say what she got to say. And Jill Scott, you know, she apologizes. But, of course, she don't grovel enough. And then she finally said, you know, she finally grovels enough. And Ari said, girl, you know I was going to accept your apology. And so they all make up and it's all cool. And once they do all that, Versace comes back in and says, okay, good. Now that we got that out the way, I got some information for y'all. Listen, my daddy been stealing your money for a long ass time. Come to find out, Derek had been keeping separate books, and not only did he swindle her out of the money she knew she had been stealing money from her all along with money she didn't even know she had. And so they go through the paperwork and they come up with a plan. And Bree was like, hell nah. Y'all said we wasn't going to run no more capers. And they was like, we got to call the boys. And they was like, no, we not calling the boys. Well, the boys must be like Hazel's uncles or something, honey. Because next thing you know, Bree agrees to call the boys. Next thing you know, Derek is in the studio with his girlfriend. She shows up, and of course she's upset because she feels like Derek is not, you know, showing her enough attention for her career with her album coming out, and that Hazel is, you know, getting way too much publicity. And he's like, don't worry about it. I got everything under control. Don't worry about it. Baby, next thing you know, them two men coming in talking about it's the FBI, and they take him out in handcuffs, honey. He was like, the FBI? What you talking about? Call my lawyer. They get him in the back of that van, and that damn Bree, she shoots him up with some sort of sedative, honey. Next thing you know, they got him in one of them, you know, a room with the one lamp, you know, one light bulb coming out the ceiling. And Derek was like, okay, you ain't the FBI. What's going on here? And they were like, don't worry about who we are. Don't worry about what's going on here. You need to sign this paperwork. And he was like, I'm not signing nothing. They said, oh, you gonna sign it. Because what they end up doing is putting Jill Scott up, putting Hazel up on the screen. And he was like, oh, I should have known you was behind this. And she said, mm-hmm. She said, and I found out what you've been doing. You've been stealing my money all these years. And first he tried to deny it. And then she was like, I got the proof, Derek. So what you gonna do is you gonna sign everything over to me. Or I'm gonna send a copy of your duplicate books over to the authorities. Now, of course, it's a bluff because Ari had already told her you really don't want to bring the authorities in, because if you do this to the authorities, ain't neither one of y'all getting nothing, because they're going to recalculate all this stuff, and probably both y'all going to end up losing out. But, of course, he don't know it's a bluff. Next thing you know, baby, Derek is on the news, getting put out of that penthouse apartment that she had locked him out of in his pajamas, honey. And, of course, the ladies are loving every minute of it. And they are, you know, sitting around basically talking about what's going on great in their life. Gary is moving back into the house. They've agreed to work things out. Ari's husband has agreed to, allow her, not allow, I don't want to use the word allow, but they've agreed that, she'll take the job and he'll commute, because again, he wants her to be happy. So Hazel is having an album release party, honey, all white. Hazel and her rival, aka Derek's ex-girlfriend, are battling for the number one album. Their albums both dropped on the same day. Hazel's is called Vengeance. Stella's is called, I think, Dangerous. I think something like that. And they're at the party and they all look good, baby. They look good. You hear me? And Hazel gets up to give her little speech, and while she's in the middle of giving her speech about love and everything she's been through this year and all of the different challenges she's had, Bree comes up on stage and says, all right, I'm gonna let her finish giving her speech, but her album is just officially number one. She beat out Stella, so of course the room erupts, and guess who comes walking in the door? Khalil. And so she walks up to him and she was like, I'm so sorry. I apologize. And he was like, nah, we good. She said, I'm surprised that you're here. He said, of course I'm going to be here. He was like, I'm your number one fan. And she was like, so we friends? He was like, yeah, we friends. Like, you got it. Like, we going to always be friends. So I like the way they ended that, because I think, and I know this is going to sound cliche or whatever, but I don't think she should go immediately into a relationship. For as much as he likes her, and I think she really genuinely likes him, but I also think she needs to continue on this path of self-discovery and figuring out who she is without a man, since she was with Derek so long and they made out to be that she was sort of codependent on Derek. So I think it's cool that they didn't get back together and that they're okay with being friends. And I think, and his shows the maturity on his part, that I think he understood that and he sees it like, yeah, she not ready for this. You know what I'm saying? But that's how the episode ends. That's how the season ends, with the three of them looking over at the party, all, going through what they went through. And then we see that Hazel took her settlement, and she started her own record label, to highlight women of color, women who are, undervalued in this world and who are overlooked, and so she is taking it. And like I said, throughout this season, they would make her into such an intelligent woman, and then they would undercut it with some stupidness. So I'm glad that we ended on that empowerment note. It was a good show. I know that they have filmed season 2. I'm not sure if season 2 has already started streaming, because like I said, this show comes on BET Plus. So I don't know if season 2 has already started streaming or not. Y'all let me know. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.